the Mom Who Knows Nada. My name is Brianna, and this is the Mama Knows Nada podcast. I think we're doing like a family theme by accident this month or this season. So my cousin Lauren, she has her own little blog and Instagram page where she focuses a lot on fashion, style, and her mom life with Laur Brooke. She is joining us today to talk about all sorts of fun things, including her lifestyle and fashion obsession. So anyway, Lauren, thank you for being here. I'm so happy to have you and catch up because it's been a minute.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. A little bit nervous, but very excited.
It's just like a conversation with a friend, except, you know, we've all had practice with this. We can't physically touch. So you just, you know, talk to the computer and it tells you. It's like a
basically
fortune.
What I do all day. So yeah.
Right. Exactly. So same difference. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
All right. So you have two kids, a girl and a boy, respectively, in that order. When you first found out you were pregnant with your oldest, what was your initial reaction?
Oh, we were super excited because I'm a planner and we for sure planned that and very lucky to get pregnant the very first month that we tried. So we knew when we wanted to get pregnant, more so because of my schedule, my job schedule, and I kind of planned it around. When you're a meeting planner, I don't know who listens, but meeting planner season is like in the fall. So we had to kind of make sure that I was available in the fall. So I planned it around that. Yeah. Very excited though.
Were both pregnancies planned or just?
Yeah. Yes, very much planned.
Okay. So the second one. I'm glad it worked out for you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What do you love most about motherhood?
Oh man. I mean, everything is fun, but also it's crazy. Watching them grow is probably my favorite thing. Like, and just like learn when they were babies, like it was fun to watch them like do little things. But now that like Audrey, the older one, is doing ice skating and she's so good, and it's just so fun to watch them excel and just like, even like through the hard things, it's fun to watch them learn how to get through things. So I think that's my favorite part, just like watching them, like sitting back and watching them.
That is pretty cool. She's ice skating.
Yes, and
how did she get into that?
I have no idea. She was like, I want to ice skate. All right. So we did it, and she loved it. Loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, had she like roller skated or like rollerbladed before?
Once she said that she wanted to ice skate, we got her like, there's a roller skates that switch from roller skates to rollerblades, and we got those for her birthday. Roller skating, she was not good at roller skating. Terrible. I have videos and it was hysterical. But rollerblading, she picked up much faster and it was good. I think that really helped her on the ice too.
That's really interesting. You would think the reverse, because I was a really good roller skater when I was 12, but that was a couple years ago. Anyway, that's an interesting thing to pick up. I like know. It. What about the little one? Is he into anything yet, or is he still too young?
Well, we tried soccer, and he's actually really good at soccer, but he does not like when people try to take the ball from him. So he would like run away crying.
Oh, that's amazing. It must be from having like an older sibling, you know? He doesn't want to be taken.
I don't know, but he is very active, does not stop moving. And he's been like that. He started crawling at 6 months, walking at 10 months, and like has been running ever since.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Marathoner. There you go.
Very, very active. Just not into one specific thing yet, although we just signed him up for ice skating too. So we'll see.
Uh-oh. Yeah. A nice sibling rivalry. Yeah. Here we go. Rivalry. Here we go. How has motherhood changed you?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's changed me or somehow it made me a little bit less emotional, I think, which is weird. Like I used to be really emotional and now I feel like I'm not, and I don't know what that is attributed to. But I don't know. These little people, they just do some weird things to you.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Actually, I think though to vibe with that for a second, like motherhood, in certain ways you have to be frank and matter of fact and like abrupt. Like you have to make decisions and you have to be like disengaged from the repercussions of those decisions because someone's going to be upset about it. And so that kind of makes sense, like an emotional where you just, I could see that because there's times when I'm like, okay, kid, that's it. We're doing this. And no, mommy, you're like, I don't fucking care. This is not a negotiation. Toddler, out the door. Like, no way. I said, no more chocolate for breakfast, dude. I get that. That's it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I don't know. And I've said before that I feel like my husband's mom was very, very nurturing and motherly. Whereas, as you know, my parents they worked further away, whereas his mom was a stay-at-home mom. So we kind of had to learn a little bit more sooner. So
gotcha.
I don't know if, not that my mom wasn't nurturing, but I just feel like his was a little bit more nurturing than mine. So you can definitely see that dynamic. Too. Yeah. And like, not her fault, but they worked further away. So, and when we were like driving all over to sports and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if that has an impact on it. I've definitely thought about that though.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, it's an interesting thing to I'm going to let that marinate and come back to it. So when you first had Audrey, your oldest one, how was that transition into the space of motherhood? Because I personally feel like it's really different as soon as that organism is here. Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear your take on the transition with the first one and then with the second.
Yeah. Well, first of all, going from 0 to 1 was like nothing. Going from 1 to 2 was way harder than I anticipated. But Audrey, it was Audrey and I a lot alone because of Dan's job. So it was just her and I, and she is like an angel child now. She was also a really good baby, but the toddler years, I don't know if it's because we were together so much or what, but we had some problems. Like she would scream at me and like hit me. And there were times where I would lock myself in my bathroom crying because she was so mean to me. And I know she didn't mean it, but like, I was like, I can't steady kiss anymore. Yeah.
Keep us both safe.
Yeah.
Stay in here.
Mommy needs some space. But yeah, I don't know. Like she, like I said, it was just her and I for a lot. So, I don't know. She definitely changed. She changed me, but also I always found it was very important. And I thought this even before I had kids, to maintain myself, even like maintain myself separate from motherhood and separate from my marriage. So we are both really good at like doing separate things. Like I go for a weekend with my friends, or like he goes to volleyball tournaments and whatever. Same thing with my kids. Like I like to have time away from them because I'm also with them so much that like I need it. Like I remember there was a time right after I had Audrey, or maybe it was after I had Landon, where Dan was like, go to Target, like just go do something by yourself because I was going to lose it. Like I need some time to myself. So I think that's always been super important to me.
Amen to that. I think that's so important. I think sometimes like it's really hard, I think, to explain to men what that transition or that moment is when the kid is born. It's literally like all of a sudden you just start behaving in a certain parameter that you never really knew existed before.
Yeah.
But equal to that, I've always said this, and you know, my parents and their marriage and all that crap. So it's like, if I can't take care of myself, how can I take care of anybody else? 100%. That's always been like my mantra. And I don't feel guilty. Like I feel guilty sometimes with my husband because he doesn't have any friends here. He's from the UK, so all of his friends are in the UK. And he doesn't really get guys' nights out, but I'm like, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
Like, bye. I'm going to play tennis. See you later, dude. So I think that's really important to focus. Like just because you have this child, it's also really selfish too, personally. Doesn't mean that everything else stops. And I think that just kind of like having those boundaries of like, okay, even a Target run, like I like going to the grocery store without my kid. It's way easier, you know, like I'll do it while he's in preschool.
Yes.
So I don't have to deal with it.
I pick it up now. I can't go through the store without or with them. Can't do it.
Too many random things end up in the cart. Do you have that problem? Because I do.
Ours is more like for some reason, we go in through the grocery store doors and they think their volume has to turn up 10 times. Like, why are you yelling at everything? Like, I don't understand. So I just can't. I start sweating. I just order online and go pick it up. Can't deal with it.
Good strategy. Or they like all run in different directions. I have a friend who just has that problem. I'm like,
yes.
I got the one and he thinks he's helping by putting everything in the cart. I'm like, we don't eat that.
Yeah.
Why are you picking that up? What was like a pretty seamless or surprisingly easy transition when you had your kids?
I honestly feel like just being a mom felt very natural to me, which I don't know why, but it did. Like I couldn't, I did breastfeed for a little bit, but that did not come easy to me. But just being a mom came easy in the newborn phases, at least. As they get older, it gets a little bit more difficult, but like it was easy to like snuggle, and it was very like I pumped exclusively then, and I was crazy and pumped every 2.5 hours for 8 months, even through the night, so I could store milk. Like it was just easy for me to make those decisions and make the decisions that I felt were right for me as a mother and for my kids. So I just for some reason feel like I was meant to be a mom, but also I don't feel like I'm as nurturing as some moms are. So it's kind of weird, but I love it.
I'm not nurturing either to a certain degree. I think, like I was like complaining, my husband always hurts himself, right? And I'm like, get up, figure it out, you're fine. Yeah. And like I have that to like Declan, when we're walking the dog and he starts racing me. Shoes are on the wrong feet, mind you. Falls. Oh, I have a bleeding boo-boo, mommy. Not just a regular boo-boo or a cut, a bleeding boo-boo. Okay, good. I'm like, come on, you're fine. Oh, but mommy. I'm like, okay. And you try to be like empathetic because to them it's a big deal, but like equally I'm like, it's a fucking cut, kid. I have stitches in my skull 4 times. Call me when that happens. Like no empathy whatsoever for this kid. But equally, like I pause. I'm like, okay, for a 3.5-year-old, blah, like I have to be a little bit empathetic. But I kind of see what you're saying with like the nurturing thing as well. It's like I didn't want to be a mom. I was scared to be. Yeah. So this like, because Dom will be like, why do we always have to do it your way? And I'm like, because this is what I feel in my bones is the right thing to do for our kid. And I carried him for 9 months. So it's he's like, that is not how it works. And I'm like, it does. 99% of the time. But anyway, I'm going off cuff here, but like having that just like innate, reaction and response to like what your kid needs. Yeah, totally. I feel that. I think that's a really good thing to highlight. It's really hard to like put that in perspective, I think too, and really navigate that. It's just somehow what's right for you and your kids so that everybody stays sane.
Some days, most days.
What else has been like trying with like the 2 or going from the 1 to 2, especially because Audrey was a toddler, right? They're like, what, 2 years apart? 2 years apart?
2.5. 2.5 years apart.
So she's like in the throes of toddlerdom, and then she has this baby brother. Oh, how is that?
Now she is a little mama. Like, like we'll be like yesterday we went out and she was like, now Landon, we can't do this right now, and like passes back. Like she also like punches him and hits him sometimes too. So there's that. But she is a little mama and she loved him. She loved her baby brother. She had no like qualms about him being there. That was fine. I think more so it was because I was home half of the time by myself. It was like, how do I put this kid to bed and this kid and like nurse or pump or whatever I need to do, because I have 2 now. My goal was to have her potty trained and sleeping by herself before Landon was born, and I did that. So that made it easier. But it was definitely hard to like have food for both of them, or like all those things. Get dressed. Did I brush my teeth? I mean, that's still an issue, but
whitening gum, right? That helps, right? some Altoids. Yeah. But it definitely was hard at first, and then I kind of got in the groove. But yeah, getting used to 2 schedules,
and they were opposite schedules. So it was like one was always awake. I never had a moment to myself.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
It was.
Sounds pretty awful.
There was a time where people were asking like, "Oh, like how's two?" I'm like, "Don't have another one." Like, do not have more than one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because it's too late now. I don't. Here's my thing about sleep. I slept more when Declan was nursing every like 2 to 3 hours than I do now. Religiously, I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm up for like 3 hours, and I'm like, oh, I should have had another kid because I'm already up and I'm already not sleeping and I'm miserable and I'm tired every single day. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's that's a first world problem that I have. Okay, so you've been a working mom. Since before Audrey was born, obviously. So when you found out you're pregnant, you're planning around work. How did you navigate that transition from stepping back to be home to have your kid and did you take maternity leave to then going back?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I have been very lucky with all of my jobs. In the places where I work. Now, I was not paid for my maternity leave, which is a whole other thing that needs fixed. But I was like, I'm taking 12 weeks. So I took, I do what I want. No, we did have short-term disability. So the first time when I had Audrey, I had that. Actually, did I have? Not a here nor there. Short-term disability. So I got paid for a little bit. But then I think the last 4 weeks or something like that, I didn't take pay, and I started going back like part-time, and then I just went back full-time. Sometimes I would have to take Audrey with me. Not often, but just sometimes. But she went right in daycare, and I'm a huge proponent for daycare. Same thing with Landon. Like, I think with one of them, I forget who it was, I had Affleck, which was very nice. They have like a maternity rider, which pays you basically to have a baby. It's great. They don't do that anymore. I'm going to keep hitting this. But yeah, it was an easy transition because of where I work. Like, they were very family friendly, and they were just really good about it. Even where I work now, they're really good with anyone having a baby or needing out for medical. So yeah, and I just eased right back in. So it wasn't crazy.
You were like, here, kids, here's daycare, have fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Peace. I actually think my husband was more emotional about it than I was, because I'm like, I need the space. I need to do my work. I'm with them all the time. Here you go. And he's more like, we need to pick them up by this time. Like we pay for later. He's like, I know, but I don't want them there long. Okay, well, if you're gonna go get them, you go get them. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I definitely know people who are like, no, like my baby's going to school, blah, blah. And I'm like, really?
Bye.
That's the thing? I'm like, peace out, kid.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn about caterpillars and chrysalises from mom. No. So see ya. All right. Let's get into like your fashion obsession and this hobby that you do. I don't know how you find the time and energy for all these deals. I have no idea. I'm like watching your shit and I'm like, what does she do all day that she finds all this stuff? So that's first of all incredible to me. And how do you juggle that with your main job and you keep this little like side hobby hustle thing going?
Well, secret. I actually just stopped my blog.
Really?
Only this month I didn't pay because I am so busy. And like I said before, fall is the busiest time of year for me. And I had just gotten a new client and I didn't have the time to focus on it. And I learned that, I like to be busy, but I just did not have time. I barely had time to write any blog posts, barely had time to share anything that I was finding. And I just needed to take my mental health into account there, and my kids and my family. So like, I was just like, you know what, I need to step back for a little bit and not do this and focus on that. Like, I still like Instagram. I still share things on there that I find. It's just not as much as I did because right now, like, there's higher priorities for me. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, but I love it. I would basically, like, I had my kids' birth stories on there. I had our recipes on there. Any sale finds, because I like fashion. I don't like high-end fashion. more like a Target and Old Navy and like American Eagle, that kind of fashion stuff. But I love finding things that other people like, because sometimes people don't have the time to go out and look for things. And and I'll never share anything that I don't like, or I'll share it and say that I don't like it. That's one thing that people, well, what I've strived for and what people have said to me is that that's one of the reasons they like to follow me, because I am completely authentically me. Most times I don't have a filter on anymore, and I'm just plain old me, and I share the ups and the downs, and I've cried on there when all the police stuff was happening. Like, it's just, I'm just me, and that's what people like to follow. And there's no point in sharing things to make a sale or all that kind of stuff. So I'm just me, and I'm goofy. So that's what I do on there for right now. And it could change, but for now, that's what I'm doing.
So your husband, you've mentioned, is a police officer.
He is.
How do you navigate that as his wife? It's an interesting role to be in, I think.
So when we first met, like a long time ago, my brother and him played soccer together. But
fun fact.
Yeah, then we reconnected later in life, and never in my life would I have thought that I would be married to him. But I am very glad I am. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. When we got together, he was not a police officer. He was in the physical fitness world, doing like training and that kind of stuff. But he did go to college for law enforcement. Didn't really work out. Transitioned to the fitness thing. Decided he wanted to go back into it, did the academy thing while we were together. So we've been together as long as he's been a cop, and it's definitely interesting. The first, when you first get hired, at least at his department, they come around and like tell you like things to expect. Are you ready for this as his partner? Kind of just introduce you to the world. And I mean, you can say you're ready, but who knows? And luckily, he doesn't work in like a crazy area. Knock on wood. It's a pretty calm residential area. There is stuff that happens, but it's not too crazy. And I say that knowing that he doesn't tell me more than half of the things. Like, he is very, very good at keeping everything separate, which is very lovely because I have anxiety, and he knows what to tell me and what not to tell me. But as his wife, there's definitely been scary times, specifically with protests and all that, or like times where he doesn't text me back for hours, and my anxious brain goes to all the places, and I like frantically search news sites and Facebook and all these places to see if anything's happening where he works. And then he'll text me back, be like, "Oh, sorry, I had this," and I'm like, okay. So we do know, he knows that it's possible if he's going to be running late or he's not answering me, like, he just has to say, like, I'm alive or I'm good or something, which is weird, but that's what he has to do, just so at least I know, like, he's okay. So
yeah, fair. I don't think that's a big ask.
Yes.
Are you breathing?
Yes. Are you still kicking? Yeah. Yeah, but it's interesting, and people say, like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, for me, like, when he goes to work now, it's just like, he's going to work, and I don't think about it. I somehow just like block it out. And like I said, he's not in like a terrible area. Like, he's not in Baltimore City, where it's a nicer area, and I just don't really think about it, to be honest.
I don't blame you. I remember my college boyfriend was the police officer in Baltimore County, so just north of the city. Yeah. Which you're familiar with because we went to the same university, but for anybody who's listening who might not be, and there was this terrible murder, and it was in kind of like the area you're talking about. So it's like Baltimore County, pretty safe neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. And my boyfriend at the time was the second officer on the scene, and he called me while he was waiting for like the medics and the backup, just to be like, I love you. This is a tough day. I just need you to know that. And then he's like, you'll see it on the news later. And it was this crazy, and it was actually quite a tragedy. It was like a family of 5, and they were all like I forget exactly what happened, but 4 of them were dead. And the son, who ended up being the murderer, came in and said he found his family.
Was it at the hotel?
It was at their house.
Oh, okay.
It was like crazy. It was when I was in college, like 23, 24, maybe 20. Yeah. 23,
I remember
24.
something like that. So
yeah, it was pretty brutal. And, but anyway, this kid had just like gone to his friends to stay the night, snuck into the home, killed his entire family, went back to the friend's house. And it was just like,
oh my gosh,
it was just brutal. And I was like, fuck, how does somebody have to like, and that's a terrible tragedy no matter where you are. And those things happen, unfortunately, too regularly.
Right.
But it's like to be that, and some more regularly than others. If I just see that every day, or even like, I'm like, someone get me a shrink.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
I could not handle that.
Yeah.
That's gruesome. Anyway.
Yeah, we definitely have, I've said multiple times, not often, but like do we need to have a check-in? Like, you okay? Like, because there's other things that have happened in our lives, family suicides, suicide. So it's just like, we have both been through that. I've been through a school shooting. So it's just like a lot of tragedy, and we just need to make sure that we're all on the same page. But yeah, it's tough. He actually did something similar last week and I didn't know that's why he was calling until the next day, that he had to do something, and then called us just to talk to us afterwards, because he wanted to hear our voice. So yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
It's, I'm really glad, no offense, and I applaud your husband, because that's not an easy line of work to be in. On any side of it, there's obviously officers out there who are not great. Right. And there's also civilians out there who are not wonderful stand-up citizens. So we're not trying to play politics here. We're just talking about one specific viewpoint, which is hers as a officer's wife. So let me make that point very clear. And I think sometimes it's easy to put down officers and not see them as human sometimes, because there are people who have, taken advantage of systems and et cetera. But I think sometimes we forget that they still have families too. It's like when you're a kid and there's like your teacher, you never think about your teacher outside of the classroom, because you're like a 7-8-year-old, and like seeing them is like weird. Yeah. I feel like it's like a similar thing for officers. Like you see them in one specific vertical, and then you forget that they actually are like humans too, Right. Yeah. That's my take on it. Anyway, back to you. What do you wish people understood about first responders and their families? On that note,
the biggest thing is to not always believe what you see in the news, because no offense to reporters, but they don't always have it right, and they don't always get all the information before posting what they see. There is a lot that people don't know before something pops up in the news, or it's not released to the public yet. So there's so many times that I've seen that firsthand, where something happens and people are commenting all this crazy stuff. Like, you don't know the full story. And if you did, then you would know. So that's the biggest, not to defend all police officers again, but like, you got to know the full story before you can go commenting and saying negative things.
I think that's interesting. I always, I'll hear something and I'll be like, well, let's give this a day or two for everything to really, as a journalism, like a student of journalism, somebody, of course you want to, have that in, or that this, or like, get the scoop. But equally, I think sometimes we're so focused on getting the scoop and almost like having an objective that we're not listening to all the sides. And I think we can see that history shows us there's a lot of sides, and some of them get left out, and all of them are valuable to find the truth, because within all of those perspectives is the truth. So I take your point about journalism. I've seen a lot of bad journalism recently. My favorite thing to do now, since nobody would give me a job out of high school, is to, when I read a news article or a blog or something, and there's like a typo in it, I like to email them.
Oh, yes. I have gone through like books and seen typos. I'm like, how did no one see this typo?
I know. I found a typo in my book. I'm not going to tell anybody where it is, but I found it. I'm so pissed off. I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, how did my editors? I literally have 20 revisions of this goddamn thing and nobody fucking saw that. Are you kidding me? I have like a book with like notes in it. I'm like, when I do my second version of this, these I'm like, it bothers me so much. I can't believe like we all missed it. That's why you have editors. Hello.
Yeah.
Who fact checks this shit? Which is another fun thing with like, not to slander the media, but also to be like, come on, people, do your jobs. The amount of like, I'm like, did you guys not fact check this? Like, what is your editor doing? Please? Like, please. I don't get it. Okay. So your husband has a weird schedule, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
How do you juggle that with like, does he do like nights, then days and stuff like that? Does he have that kind of setup or is it different within his department?
Yeah. So for the first like 6 years of him being an officer, it was all night. So he always worked nights. Yeah. And now it switches. So sometimes he'll work nights, sometimes he'll work days. And I don't even know when it is because it's crazy. It's not like a normal, like every so many weeks. It's different.
Really?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Sure is.
That's annoying.
Yeah. And it's...
Do you plan anything?
Right. Well, so we do have his schedule a year in advance. So like I know where...
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's nice. So I know what it is, but it's still like, it's not a like normal every like 4 weeks or whatever. So it is nice. We do have his calendar so far in advance, but there are numbers of times where I have gone to everything by myself and I'm used to it. Like I've probably been to more of his family's events than he has in the last like 9 years because he's just working. So yeah, it's the hardest part now. Like when we didn't have kids, it didn't matter. I just did whatever I needed to do or wanted to do when he was working. But now that we have kids, the hard part is like I finally get them on a schedule when he's not home at night or whatever, and then it changes. And then when he walks in the door, it's like World War III, like of happiness. Like they're just like, rah! And like I don't understand. So bedtime is crazy. So yeah, it's just the schedule, and it messes them up like every so many weeks. But
oh, that's really an interesting point.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that. Like Daddy comes home and it's a different schedule. Yeah. So he was like, get out of the house. You're messing up my jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, go back to work.
Yeah. It's super annoying.
You there.
Yeah. Like,
stop and this up.
Yeah. It's definitely annoying to have the schedule. And it's not his fault, but yeah, he knows this is a known thing. I'm like, stop messing the schedule up. But I can't help it. They want to see their daddy and whatever. You put them to bed. Yeah.
Good luck, Dad. Oh, that's so sweet, though. Okay, so I'm going to get into what I call the nada, and that is useless information you received while you were pregnant.
All of it.
What do you got?
Literally
Fair.
All of it. Honestly, like I just feel like each person is so different. For example, my birth, everyone was like, oh, it's going to take so long and have a plan and whatever. No, because my only thing I wanted was an epidural, and I did not get it because Audrey was ready to go. My water broke, which, it's super rare that your water breaks at home. And then she was born within 3 hours of my water breaking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
At the hospital or at home?
At the hospital. Luckily, my sister-in-law had come over. It's a very fascinating story, but she came over just to make sure because I was having contractions, but they didn't hurt. And I was like, it was 2 weeks early. So I told my husband to go to work because I didn't want him to miss out on like hours that he could be home once I had the baby. So yeah, she took my water broke. Literally, it felt like she kicked me, and I literally said, "Oh, she kicked me," and my water just broke everywhere. My sister-in-law drove me to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Dan made it, but I was not even like through triage yet. They were just hooking me up and whatever, and I was like, I gotta push, and they're like, no, we just checked you. You're 2 centimeters. I went from 2 to 10 centimeters in 40 minutes. And
shut up.
Yeah. And Audrey was here. I pushed like for 20 minutes and she was here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So nothing that anybody told me was right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Dang. way to get it in and get it done, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty spectacular.
Yes.
Was Landon the same or no? No.
No. So I was terrified because they always say your second one comes faster. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I worked an hour away at that point. I was like, I can't go to work for like the last month of my pregnancy because Audrey came 2 weeks early. So they actually told me they expected him like 37 weeks. I was like, okay, well, not going to go in. Nope. I passed 38 weeks and I was like, why am I still pregnant? I've never been pregnant that long at that point. Yeah. So then I did end up going into labor at 38 or 39 weeks. And, but we got there. I had the same exact nurse. I actually requested her. I was like, is she here? And she was like, get her one or give her epidural now. So they gave me the epidural and then he didn't come for like 15 hours. I was like, this is some bullshit.
Well, by that time the epidural was off.
Well, no, I was golden. Like I was like hanging out. I said it was the best thing ever. I felt great. I don't know if they pumped more in or what, but like I didn't feel a thing. It was wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I felt everything and I had an epidural. It was annoying.
Oh, yeah. Well, I felt everything the first time and I was like, I'm not doing that again. So, yeah, I got lucky. Very lucky.
I'm not doing that again. Mm-mm. It's different when you know what to expect, right? Like I was walking in blind.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, nope.
What do you wish you would have been told about motherhood?
Oh, goodness. That they're little terrors and they're so mean. Honestly. Like they can, but like Sour Patch Kids, like so mean 1 second and so nice and sweet the next. And you know, everyone tells you that. They tell you that, like, motherhood is hard. But you don't realize how, like, what they mean until, like, you hit that part. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really hit that part until they were toddlers. Like, babies, you know, just kind of the same. Like, they eat, they sleep, they poop, whatever. But toddlers and, like, getting into school, like, that's the hard part. And dealing with their emotions and they're trying to break their boundaries. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, they're testing everything, which is great, but also annoying. And I've actually heard people say like the toddler years are very similar to like teenage years because that's your two big hormonal shifts happen at those times for all humans. So I'm pretty good at like rationalizing with Declan. Surprisingly, like he's really receptive if I explain things to him. Yeah. And he'll have like a 5-minute meltdown, but I've never had to deal and like a hit or a punch there, here and there. It's not really that bad, but I've never had to deal with like hour-long meltdowns or anything. Yeah, like that. I'm like, dude, stop it.
Yeah, we're lucky too. We haven't been on like that like long ones. Usually they're pretty quick, but they're still like they're rough, especially when they're in public. And I'm like, like Audrey never had that. She was fine until like she was like 4 and then she kind of had some, but yeah, I wish somebody would have been like, here's the manual on this. They're going to be little dicks and you're going to have to get through that.
I call Declan a tiny nightmare or a tiny tyrant. And anytime I say it in public, some people are like taken aback and then other people just start cracking up. Yeah. I'm like, it's true. Yeah. Like he is a tyrant. It's like he is the boss, like, you know, indirectly, you know what I mean? Like I still like have control of the reins, but he's, you know, telling me like he's jerking which way he wants to go. And he is a nightmare sometimes. Like I wish that people would just be honest, like kids can be assholes. Like they are little shits. Like what you said, 100%. All right. What unsolicited insight do you have for new moms or soon to be moms?
I know you asked me this question and I don't remember what I wrote. But off the cuff, it's going to be not to listen to what everybody else says and just do what you feel is right. Because your mother instinct is going to be what's right for you and what's right for your family and what's right for your kids. So the pressures of others, you don't need to listen to that. I know I've dealt with it with like specifically, I'm not going to bring it up because that would be weird, but with certain things, and like, no, like I don't need to do that. I don't believe in that, or I don't think that's right for us as a family. So no, I'm not going to do that. And I don't really care what people think. And I think that's I don't know what the word is, but like, I feel like that's really important for new moms specifically, but any moms, like, don't care what other people think. It's your life. It's your kids. It's your family, and what's right for you guys. So that's
totally. Yeah. Everybody's like, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, you know?
Exactly.
Sometimes like the unsolicited advice is helpful, and having mom groups, I feel like it's all about how information is like presented.
Yeah.
Like people who's like, oh no, you have to try it this way. It's like, but do I? You know, because this is working for me over here. So why do I have to do it your way? Like, I think my way's cool too. Yeah. You know, like, back off.
And I don't think like I have a group of friends now, and I was the first to have kids, and no one really understood really kind of what I was going through. Like, some of them would be like, I admire you guys or whatever, and then other people are like, I'm going to do it my way, which is fine, like, do it your way. But I had friends like apologize, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize, or like things like that. I'm like, thank you, I feel so like validated now. I
feel seen.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. I hear that. All right. Well, I'm the mom who knows nada. This is Laur Brooke. You can check her out. It's at Life with Laur Brooke, right? Your Instagram handle. She does really find some good tips.
It's not.
Did you change it?
It's just Laur 2 underscores and Brooke with an E.
Oh,
my website was Life with Laur Brooke.
Oh, your website. Okay, that's what I was. I'm sorry. I'm giving false information here. I did not fact check my story, so thank God I have an editor here keeping me legit. Laur _ Brooke with an E.
Yes.
Got it. She does have some really good finds, and she does try a lot of good products that I will never try because I don't have the energy. But for other people who want to know about stuff, she's got some good. I just like listen, and then I'm like, I don't know how you do that.
Well, thank you.
Like, okay, bye. Just like, okay, whatever. That's great. I'm never going to use that, but cool. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. You can check her out, especially if you want anything like good fashion finds, good deals, all that kind of stuff. That's your girl. So thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. And until next time, have fun learning all the things you didn't know you needed to know.